G'day and welcome back to the TFI Uncut podcast, where we're talking to the competitors of the BCF TFI in 2024. Some fantastic personalities this year, so stay tuned. This is a fantastic episode. G'day and welcome to another TFI Uncut podcast. Today we're talking to somebody that has a sheer dedication for cod fishing, and he's got it dialed in, spent many hours on the water. His film this year was called Drift, a very appropriate name for the Murray River. How are you, Colby?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate. Yourself?
Doing well, thank you. I still feel like I'm recovering from after. It was good to catch up and speak on the panel with you there.
Yeah, it was a good weekend or a good couple of days. It was nice to meet you.
Yeah, the topic that we spoke about there was offshore fishing, and I mean, you come from a cod fishing kind of background. How often do you find yourself actually going offshore and fishing nowadays when you've got this love for cod?
Still probably 50% of my fishing I do offshore. I just love all forms of fishing, and if I do anything for too long, I kind of get a bit bored of it. And cod aren't exactly the best fighting fish there is out there, so it's nice to go catch some fish that actually fight and do a bit of different stuff and catch heaps of fish, because cod just aren't a fish that you catch a lot of either, so it's nice to get offshore and catch a lot of fish. But always try and mix it up, so try and do 50% freshwater stuff and 50% saltwater.
Yeah, so for you guys, if you haven't checked out Colby's Instagram, he does have an array of some pretty cool trophy catches. What's your favourite offshore catch that you've caught before?
That topwater sailfish that I've posted photos of and talked about a bit. It was a pretty special one, but yeah, just, I don't know, massive range of stuff offshore. There's just so many different species to chase, and I like chasing everything and slowly ticking off like each of the species, try and get a big size one of each. But I love my topwater casting, so those topwater sailfish are pretty special.
How did that come about? Was that something that you wanted to tick off for a while?
I've always wanted to catch topwater sail, and just over the last 10 years I've had a whole bunch of shots in a whole bunch of areas, like off home at Mission Beach. I've missed them in my tinny, I've missed them out at the reef, and then up in the Torres Strait, so I got a couple of shots up there as well where they just never hooked up. And then when they come up and hit a popper, they whack it with their bill or a stick bait, and they don't actually eat it. And then finally I had one actually eat it, and I had brand new hooks on and hooked it and managed to land it, which is a pretty hard to do task, and it was a few years in the making. Yeah,
because so many times when you are marlin fishing, I think even for me this season when I was coming up the East Coast, I think I was going, I had a good ratio there for a minute, but then you have some days out there when even when you're trolling or on skirts, they just don't want to quite set the hook, or they'll do one jump and then it's all over. So it must have been pretty cool when you had it on the side of the boat and you're like, I've done it. I've finally done a topwater sail. That's epic.
Yeah, I had a good feeling because I had brand new treble hooks on. I saw him actually eat the popper, and when I hooked him, I had a good feeling that I'd get him. And then, once he started jumping and stuff, I could see both hooks were in him. Pretty stoked about that. And then a bunch of sharks came up on him and actually bit a hole in his sail, but he managed to dodge all the sharks, jump out of the water, and then he came up on the reef flat. So I got him on the reef flat and just kept going to the beach with him and got him to the beach, which was pretty lucky.
Wow, you got some banging photos there too, holding him up.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Right on the beach. Yeah, that's epic. So just taking it back a little bit, why is it, as a fisherman, what is it that draws you to keep persisting and doing what you do? I mean, you've got a pretty cool lifestyle. I think you mentioned you're 3 on 3 off or 6 on 6 off. So you get a fair bit of time to plan some pretty epic trips, and you've just mentioned you've got another trip planned on the Murray next week. What keeps you coming back in the form of fishing?
Oh, I just love everything to do with fishing. I love seeing Australia, getting outdoors is probably the main thing. Like, I just always loved my fishing and hunting. Ever since I was old enough to walk, I've been fishing and hunting, so just kind of developed a bit of an addiction for it, and I just love the outdoors. And Australia is such a big and diverse place. There's just so many options, like so many different things and so many things to learn. Like the Murray Cod fishing is obviously totally different to everything up north and the sports fishing. And I just really love Australia as well. Like driving around the country, looking at everything is pretty cool. And I just like chasing trophy fish as well. So it's kind of just like a never ending goal. Like you get one species, a really big one of one species, and then it's like, righto, what can we do next? And I kind of like chasing that challenge, chasing all the goals of catching a trophy fish of everything we have in Australia. And then, I just get to spend heaps of time outside and traveling around Australia in the process. And that's just what keeps me going. I just love every minute of it. So
Yeah, well, you've got a nice tan on, so you must be doing it a fair bit. I feel like as well, since I moved up to the sunny coast, like I go back to visit my friends down in Tassie, they're like, "What have you been doing?" I'm like, "Just been fishing, man. Like, loving life." It's good to get out there, and it's so therapeutic, and mental health benefits that come with it. It's bloody awesome. So your film this year, appropriately titled Drift, and it's going down the Murray River in search of the almighty Murray Cod. Why was it that you decided to chase that particular species for your entire film this year?
Cod's just something that I've always loved doing. Grew up catching them and been catching them since a really young age. So I've always spent a lot of time doing the cod stuff and putting content on the internet with the cod stuff. And I think just by far I get the best response for any of my content is just the cod stuff. Everybody down south just really seems to love it. Pretty unique too, like those drifts. I'm not going to say I'm the only one that does them, but yeah, it's kind of my thing. I've done a lot of it over the years, and my videos have had a really good response. And whenever people come up to me and chat, they always want to talk about that. And I hadn't seen it done in the TFI before. Obviously, there's been some amazing saltwater videos of the reef and stuff. And I just thought, you know what, I'm going to do something totally different. It's cool, topwater fishing. I really enjoy it. And I thought, if I do something different, maybe all the cod people down south will enjoy that, and they'll come across and have a watch. And I just wanted to do something different was the main thing, and that's the content that I like doing, and the people seem to like, so that's why I picked it.
Yeah, that's it. So over the course of your film as well, how many days were you out there filming?
We did a whole week, so 7 days.
Wow.
Chris and I in the boat, which was pretty bloody testing for Chris being a videographer, and I'm just constantly telling him it can happen at any minute. And it's like day 4 or 5, and we've had a handful of bites and really struggling. And yeah, it's hard to keep the confidence up, but eventually it just does happen. But yeah, it's the big cod on the surface lure is kind of like a once in a lifetime fish. So we could go and do a couple days here, a couple days there, but the chances of getting one are very, very unlikely. Whereas devoting a whole week to it, it's like you're probably going to get a shot. It might go your way, it mightn't, but if you spend a whole week, you get a shot.
Yeah. Just going to the tackle that you use as well. I think I heard a lot of buzzing on one of your lures as well that you use. So is that something relatively new that's come in? I mean, we've just come back from AFTA, and I'm quite intrigued about all this new technology. Can you explain that for me? Because I have no idea how it works.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting lure, that one. It's called the Ballista Tremor, and it's actually got a vibrator inbuilt inside of it. So cod are quite a smart fish, and they do get a lot of pressure, so they become quite aware to sounds. And with the surface lures, it's always good to just kind of I've found, like, always use a newer model that makes a slightly different sound to the rest, because the fish do get aware of the surface lure and the sound it makes. But yeah, the Tremor came out with a vibrator in it as well, so it makes like this paddling sound with the vibration as well. And when it first came out, I caught loads and loads of big fish on it. And yeah, it's been a really good lure for me, so that's why I was using it. It's been out a few years now, but yeah, it's also good because when you get a bite, you can just let it sit there and vibrate, and there's a chance that the fish will come back as well, because it's like a cicada sitting on the surface. So yeah, it's just something really different.
That's awesome. It's really cool, because I kept on hearing the sound throughout your film, and I'm like, what is it? That's so interesting. So it has been around.
Sounds like a phone
ringing.
ringing.
So it has been around for a couple of years. Hey, you've just mentioned that it has been around, but so the frequencies keep on changing on it, and the fish are reacting to it in different ways, essentially.
Oh, it's always just had that same vibration in it, which it still has, but it sets it aside from the sound of all the other surface lures. Like, obviously there's hundreds of surface lures on the market, and they're all just kind of got that paddling bib sound, so they all sound quite similar, whereas the Tremor's got like this cicada vibration in it too. And I just found that, yeah, it was something very different that the fish had to have a look at.
Yeah. I'm interested to dive a little bit deeper as well into your Murray Cod fishing and the patience that you have within your soul, because I don't think it's something that I could do. I love jam-packing as many different types of fishing as I can into a day on the water. I mean, how many days have you been out there where you haven't had a bite at all, and you just feel like you're starting to go stir crazy?
Yeah, it's not uncommon for that to happen 4 or 5 days in a row. Yeah, they try and grind you down mentally, that's for sure. Like, I'm always trying to chase the biggest ones. So, when you're chasing the biggest ones, you're not going to catch fish every day. Like, I'll happily not get fish for a few days just to have a really good shot of that big one, like throw a big lure, fish all the big logs, sit out further, fish the prime times a year for the bigger fish. So yeah, for me, it's not uncommon to go 4 or 5 days without a bite. If you're going a week without a bite, that's really tough fishing, and that's when I'll look at going home. But yeah, it's nothing to go 4 or 5 days without getting one. Like I think this year on the river, I was up to like 40 days of topwater fishing
40?
to get a meter. Yeah, I've got smaller ones, but to get a bigger one, yeah.
But so when it comes to cod fishing, cracking a meter is the objective for you?
Yeah, it's kind of like people regard it as like a once in a lifetime fish, and you can consistently catch them if you target them. But yeah, like a good season for me, I'll catch 10 in a season, which isn't a lot. It's changed a bit now with the live technology, but yeah, it's something that you never really get enough of catching them. They're just so hard to catch. Like you might have a good run and get 2 in 2 days or whatever, but then you might go 2 months without even seeing one. So
that's it. I mean, look, 40 meters of cod in a season. I think that's pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
I wouldn't throw that down at all. I feel like that's absolutely awesome. So when people are watching your film back at home, what is it that they can expect? It is kind of, I feel those mental battles that happen throughout as well, and it was pretty cool seeing it on the big screen. For anybody that hasn't seen it yet, what can they expect? What are some of these visuals that unfold?
Oh, I just think it's like a really true, legitimate story of Murray Cod fishing. It's just a week-long drift down the river. It's just casting the big lures at the big snags, like conventional cod fishing. I don't use any of the active new sonar at all. I'm just casting away out the tinny. Anybody can go do it, and just chasing that one really big fish, and that's just the way it usually is on the river for me. I just love kind of the build up to catching that big one. I like it to be hard, and you miss a few, you get the odd smaller fish, it's good, and then it just kind of builds up to this one thing, and then you finally get the big one. It's just the best feeling ever. It's only it could only be one fish, but yeah, it's just a really good feeling. And then Chris has done an awesome job at just capturing how beautiful the river is and that build up as well. I miss a massive one, and it's a really cool build up, and then bang, get the biggest fish on the last day, which is a pretty special moment. Yeah.
What are some of the other animals and encounters that you have when you're drifting down the Murray for the 7 days?
Yeah, I get a trout cod and a yellow belly, but I don't think we show the yellow belly in the TFI film. But yeah, we got to see kangaroos drinking out of the river, koalas. There's heaps of bird life on the river. The bird life's pretty amazing. But yeah, there's a few other species of fish, but not heaps. It's mainly about that big cod.
After you've spent so much time in nature as well for 7 days straight, how does it feel coming back to your everyday life? You've got a son as well. It must be like nice and chill and tranquil, and then you're coming back to all of this technology. Do you find that has an impact on you at all?
Nah, like it's just part of everyday life now, but I do find that's why I love these trips. It's just such a reset. Like where we were there, we're in national park. There's no houses bordering the river. There's dirt tracks, but there's no roads. We didn't see any cars. We saw the odd other person camping on the bank, but it's just like no reception, total reset, like the days go so fast these days because you're on your laptop doing this, you're in the car doing this, whereas like out there on the river, you're casting for 12 hours straight, just waiting for this fish. The time slows down a bit. It's a good mental reset, and I really love it. But yeah, coming back to everyday life, it is a bit sad when you're driving back up the river thinking, oh, that's it, the time's done. But it's good to get home and see the family and do some other stuff.
Yeah. So when you're on these trips as well, what's one thing that you couldn't go without? I mean, we've all got our creature comforts. What is it for you?
Oh, probably just being warm. Like being up north so much lately, it's really hard to just, camp out on the river and be out on the river. So just got to have that really good wet weather gear, and then a really good sleeping bag and swag to stay warm, because it's bloody freezing out there at night, and it's freezing first thing in the morning, and you got to be up fishing those periods because that's the best time to catch one.
Yeah, okay. So the majority of your catches for your meteries, have they been in the morning or afternoon?
Mostly in the morning over the years. I really like that first light period in the morning. Last light has been all right too, but the crazy thing about the TFI film was that all the big bites we had were like 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, that's something that I noticed.
We did not know when. Yeah, we did not know when they were going to come. but it just seemed like there was a bit of a bite period at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon that week. And yeah, obviously we tried super hard early and late, but yeah, all the biggest bites came to 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's crazy. And we were chatting earlier. I mean, as a cinematographer myself, I understand how kind of teething it can be when it's nice when you finally get a hookup, and you don't want to fake anything in this film either. And this is something that you can't fake. I mean, you want your cameraman, it was Chris Burns that shot it for you. You want him to be there on frame, ready to capture the whole thing. Can you tell me about some of the challenges for your cameraman within this film?
Yeah, well, obviously Chris had just never been with me before on a drift of that length. And it's not that he didn't understand, but he just didn't quite know the lengths that go into it. Like, you see all the photos on social media, you see the videos of these big fish busting up on the lure. You see all the stuff, but you don't see what happens behind the cameras, like how many casts I'm doing. So Chris was a little bit blown away at like how many hours I fish a day. Like, I'm up and out before first light and keep casting till last light. There's like 13 hours of casting throughout the day.
Yeah.
It's just one after another. Like, I might have a quick break for lunch, that's it. So Chris was a bit surprised about the actual amount of fishing that goes into it. And then obviously it was super hard for him constantly changing batteries and cards, because he's just videoing every cast. And it was a bit of a battle for him, but he did an amazing job, a really, really good job. There was one stage you'll see in the film, he puts the camera down to pick up his drink, literally has a drink, and then bang, I get hit by one. But luckily I'm wearing the GoPro, so we use the GoPro footage in the film, but you'll actually see him put the camera down and have a drink. And like, that's how crucial it can be. He put the camera down for probably 5 seconds.
Wow.
And that was when I got the bite. So
yeah,
you just got to be on the ball the whole time. And he did a really, really good job. I don't think there's too many cinematographers or videographers that could do the job that he's done.
Yeah. So does he have a background in fishing?
Yeah, Chris is a real outdoors man. Like, he loves his fishing and hunting, so that's what helps him. That's what helped him, do it. I think if he didn't have a background in fishing and hunting, he'd be like, what is this guy like even going for? Like, nothing's going to happen. But yeah, Chris is used to doing the hard yards in fishing and hunting in general. So he's, he was the man for the job. Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty cool at the Gold Class screening as well. Yours was actually the first film that sort of kicked off. And I think it kind of set the production level for what might be coming up and everybody else's films as well. You weren't at the Gold Class screening, but me sitting there watching this as the first film, I'm like, holy hat, we are in for a treat. It's different production levels between all of it, but he absolutely nailed it, nailed the cinematography. I'm intrigued about how you keep batteries charged on a small vessel like that for 7 days. What did he do?
Yeah. Well, I've got my boat pretty well set up for charging stuff, because I do a lot of filming myself anyway. So he just basically had, I think he had 2 battery chargers on at a time. I've got a big deep cycle in my boat that's just for charging batteries, so you can get a week out of that charging batteries. And then I've got different batteries for all my other stuff as well. But yeah, he just was constantly clipping batteries in, clipping them out, clipping them in, clipping them out. And then the cards were filling up so quick because we were trying to film in slow-mo at such high quality. He did an awesome job at it. And then with the edit, as he said, he's just, blew me away, because I just went away, did the week's fishing. Chris went home, edited it all, and then sent it through to me. And yeah, definitely the best production quality I've ever been a part of. It was really cool.
Yeah. Do you feel like you missed anything in the edit, or did you have to make a few rounds of alterations, or you're just like, dude, I'm stoked with that?
Yeah, I was stoked with it straight up. Hey, like, I was really stoked.
That's
the only part I was spewing about was that I couldn't make the Gold Coast, the screening, because like, it would have been awesome. He put in all the sound work, and it would have been awesome to watch on the big screen with all the sound around you, which I watch it with my headphones on. It's just as good, but it would have been cool to see on the big screen.
So one of the most testing parts in your film is when you miss an absolute donkey of a cod. Fair bit of a build-up for that bite too, a couple of days, and you missed it. Tell the audience that's listening in the car or watching this back at home, how did you feel in that moment when you missed that fish? Other Murray Cod fishermen are going to understand, but for somebody that doesn't understand what goes into it, like how did you contain yourself when you missed that?
Wow, there's not much you can do. Is the bad part, but yeah, it was just such a build-up. Like, it was just tough, and I was just saying to Chris, it's going to happen. Like, it can't not happen. Everything looks right. And then we got a few smaller fish. And then, yeah, it finally did happen and missed the hooks. And yeah, it's just a devastating feeling. Not so much the fact that I missed the fish. Like, I've missed plenty of big fish like that before, but just that we only had a certain amount of time to film the film. And like, this was a truly special one. Like, it was like 1.20 meters plus, like as big as I've ever caught on surface in the river. And like, yeah, it would have just been amazing fish to get for the film. And like, it just would have been such a special moment for me and Chris, because like, the feeling would have been unbeatable, because not only have we caught this massive fish, but we've got it on like film. Like, this is hardly ever been done before. So missing out on that whole feeling was what I'm so, devastated about. Like, it would have just been such a good moment. Instead, it was just a moment full of heartbreak, and we both just kept going with our heads down.
Yeah, right. So you're sitting there for a couple of minutes of silence as well. For everyone listening back at home as well, why are people jumping on the filminvitational.com, getting their access pass, and essentially watching your film and considering throwing you a vote?
I just think it's definitely the best level of production I've ever been a part in. Like, if people have watched my videos in the past and have enjoyed them, I definitely say you'll really enjoy this one. It's so much easier to watch than my GoPro stuff. Chris has done an amazing job. And then also you've got the other 9 films there that are awesome. And then if you are a cod fisherman or a southerner, it'd be great for you to get behind me and give us a vote and show everybody it's not about topwater stuff up north. We got some good options down south as well. Have you ever fished for the Murray Cod without going topwater, or it's always been topwater for you? No, I've always really, really loved the topwater, but I've caught lots and lots on subsurface as well. And Chris and I did do some subsurface fishing that week. We just couldn't fit any of those fish in the film because we only got 20 minutes, and we wanted to keep the best bits in the TFI film. So we did all the topwater stuff in there, but we also did catch some subsurface fish as well. But yeah, for me, it's just all about that topwater bite. Like, the cod, a meter cod's kind of a once in a lifetime fish, and then to get one on a surface lure out of the river, just that much harder again. So
yeah, it's definitely, like you say, a fish of a lifetime for a lot of people. What are some of the adventures, if people haven't been following you, what can they expect over the coming months? Some of the fishing that you're going to do, or have you got anything planned up your sleeve?
Yeah, I'm just at the moment, I'm doing a bit of a YouTube series, working through a few cod dams. I'm going to keep going with that. The series is doing quite well, so just going around fishing a variety of cod dams across Australia and doing that. It's been really enjoyable. Plenty of big cod stuff. And then, yeah, when I'm not doing that, I'll be up north just casting lures, catching a whole range of fish. And yeah, I'm doing YouTube videos every couple of weeks, so you want going live every 2 weeks.
So is it your objective to try and do YouTube and fishing full time?
Yeah, definitely. I'm slowly starting to get there. It's been a slow process for me. I've always done the fishing and been the angler, but I've really had to work on all this social media stuff and the videoing and stuff. Like, I'm not very tech savvy at all, but yeah, slowly working my way through it and getting better and better. And I just love going fishing. So the goal is to just get to the stage where I'm my own boss and can go fishing all the time. Still a little bit off yet, but everybody gets behind me and votes and I win the TFI, we'll be well on the way.
Yeah, that's it. So for the people back at home, what is your YouTube channel called? Is it just your name?
Yeah, it's just Colby Lesko on YouTube, and same on Instagram. And on Facebook, it's just Colby Lesko Fishing.
Nice and easy to remember across the platforms too. It gets pretty complicated when you have different handles for everything. But you just said if you were to win that $70,000, that you'd probably be investing it back into your YouTube channel and trying to give this a full-time solid crack. Is there anything else that you'd spend the money on if you won that 70 grand?
No, I think I'd just inject it all straight back into my business and really try and up my production level to, do it full time. The other thing I said I'll do is, if I win, I'll pay Chris to do another week or two with me filming again. And yeah, just try and get a massive one like I missed. And then I'll put that on my YouTube. But yeah, just want to do some cool trips with Chris as well. Throughout the year, pay him to come and video some really cool stuff and do it justice. So I pretty much just put it all back in that way, and it'd keep me going. I might be able to have 6 months off work and do some more crazy trips than I normally would. And that'd be the plan.
Oh, that's awesome. I love all of your content, and like I said, across your Instagram, you've caught some amazing fish over the years. I think I'm going to jump on your YouTube channel and have a bit of a binge, and hopefully we can tee something up as well. We'll go off to the reef or try and get some of the other guys from the TFI and have a bit of a reunion, because you missed out on fully sending it with us at the gold class. But I'm curious, who do you think if it's not yourself, who do you think might take home that first place position, or who do you think might be in the top 3 this year?
It's really hard. The films are all so different. There's a lot of very different films in there, but for me, I really liked Coffee Breaks. I think like that mackerel in the air stuff is just amazing. You got the drone up. Yeah, caught some really cool fish, and I just know how hard it is to get everything right, to get that situation where you can have time to get the drone up, you can get those air strikes in good quality, and just, a lot goes into that. So I really appreciated that one. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoyed his film too. I had a bit of a chat to him yesterday as well. We did his podcast, and he actually spent a month out there filming his film, and it's good that we've had that time frame this year.
Yeah.
Just going back to the time frame, because Murray Cod fishing has a closed season. Is that about to close?
Yeah, it's just about to close now. But the problem with the filming period for the cod was the topwater fishing is like over the warmer months of the year, and then when it gets really cold, they don't come up and hit the surface. So pretty well, as soon as the period was open for filming, Chris and I were just straight out there, and we did that week straight up, and then it just got slowly harder and harder from then on in. So yeah, Chris and I were done our film the earliest. I think we had it submitted and in pretty early. But yeah, that's another thing that helped me decide to do the cod. It was a good time of year to do that, whereas like throughout the winter period for up north, like Cape York and stuff, it's so windy, and I thought, if I try and do the offshore thing and we wait for the weather window, like it might never happen.
Yeah, that's it. If you were going to give any basic tips to budding cod fishermen that are pretty keen to get into it, I'd love to do it at some point in time, but I don't think I could do 7 days on the water like you mad dog. What tips would you give to somebody that's pretty interested in giving it a crack?
Just persistence is a big one. You just want to go out there with a lot of persistence. Don't let them get you down. You can go out and fish 10 times in a row and not get them. Don't let that wear you down. Just keep going again and again. But basically, you just want like nice, clear water. These southern rivers are pretty susceptible to rain and dirty water quality, so you just want to stay and only go out when the water's nice and clear and low, and then fish a big lure and fish it around the snags, and just keep going again and again, and you'll eventually pick up things and learn things along the way, and hopefully eventually you get that big meter-plus fish that everybody's after. Yeah,
that's awesome. I think that's some fantastic advice. So there you have it, folks. A little bit more about Colby and what went into his film this year. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. It's been great to catch up, and I really appreciate you jumping on and having a bit of a yarn. Best of luck for your film this year. I think it's incredible. I love the production quality, just like what you've spoken about. Is there anyone you'd like to thank for helping make it happen this year?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Ballista Lures, Dog and Gun Coffee, Skeleton Optics, and Samaki. And then I'd also like to say a massive thanks to Chris Burns for hanging in there and filming all week with me. You did an awesome job, mate, and you've done an amazing job with the edit. So yeah, and thanks to the TFI for making it all possible. That's been awesome. BCF is obviously the sponsor, and thanks for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, no problem. It's fantastic that the BCF TFI has happened again this year. I can't wait to see how this all progresses as well, and the different avenues that we might go into. It's a testament to you and your fishing being invited to it this year. You're doing an incredible job, and I can't wait to binge some of your YouTube videos and get to know you even more so. But really appreciate you jumping on the pod. So thank you very much. And it's been great to have a bit of a yarn.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Thanks for having me, and hopefully catch up for a fish one day down the track.
Yeah, that's it. And just a quick one for you guys listening, thefilminvitational.com. Jump on there, buy your access pass. The cheapest one is $4.99. That's a drop in the ocean. That's not even, that's a quarter of what you'd pay for a lure nowadays. So jump on there, watch the films, vote from 1 to 10, and it's going to be very interesting in a couple of weeks' time to see who takes this out. So in closing, get your vote in, and we'll see you in the next podcast.